Out of here. It's like a short one. I'm that guy. I want a juicy one though, like a real one, like one that's gonna give me, you know what I'm saying? Tantalizing. Like a really good one. Wait, what's the, or do we do a police chase one? Because I'm trying to see here. I'm not gonna lie. Some of these don't really look too appetizing. Babysitter laughs at after killing a 3-year-old. Thinks she's going home. What the fuck? That's just satanic. That's satanic, bruh. Killer thinks he got away with murder, but made one mistake. 70-year-old killer realized his life is over. Nigga, if you're killing at 70, you're screwed. You're screwed. Maybe try a different channel. Ah, fuck. Damn, what kind of nigga, why does this look like a streamer setup? What the fuck? Wait, killer realizes victim what the fuck? Killer realizes victim survived sounds insane. What's another channel that does shit like this? They don't got like no related shits. What the fuck? Was it cop speed? Like cop see, this is where I need see. Oh, true crime? True crime. True crime. I'm that. Horrific ending. Police needed therapy after witnessing this. What the? This just can't. Oh, I don't know if I could do that one. Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't know if I can do that one. What officers found in the break room is terrifying. What? Okay, it got some, John Wayne Gacy. Influencer killed live. Alright, this one just came out, I guess. Oh man, bro. Fuck, man. Oh man. This one just came out, so let's lock in, bruh. This said the police needs therapy. The police needs therapy after witnessing this, bruh. You know it's... Oh, man. Oh, is this the same one? Oh, yeah, let's... fuck. Oh... Hey man, fuck it, man. This might be too dark. Hey man, y'all about to get some woke takes, man.
It's 608 Southeast 8th Street.
And I couldn't imagine going through that as a mother.
Mm-hmm. Hey man, lock in, man.
It's just, I'm speechless. I don't know what to think right now.
What do you guys want to know?
Hey man, all I'm gonna say is, let's lock in.
Things are under name, and I died it. And not.
There are some stories that stop you completely, not because they are hard to follow, but because they're hard to accept. Because everything about them feels like it shouldn't be possible. Like the world you thought you understood suddenly reveals a side of itself that you weren't prepared for. And this is one of those stories. Bentonville, Arkansas. November 20th, 2012. A mother wakes up in the early morning hours and walks into her daughter's bedroom. Her youngest is still asleep, but the other side of the bed, the side where her 6-year-old had been just hours before, is empty.
Okay.
No open windows, no unlocked doors, no sign that anything had gone wrong. Just silence where a little girl used to be. Within hours, that silence would become the center of one of the most significant true crime cases
is that
the state
an
of
actual
Arkansas
court
had ever seen. A case that would reveal not just what happened that night.
And that's
but
a
how
fucking cool ass
completely
looking
the wrong
court.
person can blend into everyday life. Right next door. Trusted. Familiar. Welcomed into the family. This case is often referenced in discussions around child safety and community trust, and once you hear the full story, you will understand exactly why. This is a true crime documentary, and this is the story of Jersey Bridgman. Before we go any further, or drop a comment right now and tell me where in the world you're watching from. I read every single one.
Alaska.
And if stories like this matter to you, hit subscribe. New documentaries go up regularly.
Hey, we in Alaska with it right now, boy.
Now let's go back to Bentonville.
Bentonville.
And talk about everything that led to that empty bed.
Okay.
To really understand what happened in Bentonville, you first have to understand the place itself. Arkansas sits in the heart of the American South, and if you've never been, the easiest way to describe it is this. It looks exactly like what most people picture when they imagine the phrase, real America. Quiet roads, cutting through thick forests.
I drove through Arkansas. It's not really that. It's really
neighbors. The Ozark
it's a really nice
Mountains
place.
Stretching across the northwest corner of the state.
It is country as hell, though.
Dropping into valleys where life moves at its own pace. Hot springs, clear rivers, trails that seem to go on forever.
Woohoo!
It's the kind of place people move to when they want to slow down. And in the northwest corner of that state sits Bentonville, probably best known internationally as the home of Walmart's global headquarters, but otherwise it's just a mid-sized American city where neighborhoods are close, kids play outside after school.
Shout out Walmart.
And the idea of something truly terrible happening feels far away. That's where Jersey Bridgman lived. And by the fall of it in 2012, she was 6 years old.
What?
But her story, the full story, started long before that November night, and the beginning alone is difficult to sit with.
Wait, hold on.
Fall of it in 2012, she was 6.
Oh, so this happened in 2012?
But her story, the full story, started long before that November night, and the beginning alone is difficult to sit with. Jersey's parents, David and Desiree Bridgman, had separated and were sharing custody of their daughter. On her mother's side, life
shout out to the Indianapolis
normal,
Pacers.
the kind of environment that a child needs. But on her father's side, behind closed doors, something very different was happening. Investigators first became aware of a problem when Jersey's living situation raised serious concerns that required immediate attention from authorities. What followed was a thorough investigation that uncovered a home environment that had fallen far below the standard any child deserves. According to evidence gathered by Rogers Police, Jersey had been living under conditions that prioritized control over her basic comfort and freedom of movement. When detectives questioned her father, David, he claimed his intentions had never been to cause harm. He said he had been worried about Jersey moving around the house unsupervised at night. Detective Larry Taylor later recalled that David admitted the situation had started small and gradually escalated over time. He and his girlfriend Jana had apparently discussed safer alternatives but claimed financial difficulties prevented them from following through. So instead of finding a proper solution, they chose one that fell seriously short of what Jersey needed and deserved. And when Jersey began showing signs that something was wrong, the response wasn't to stop. It was simply to adjust. By the end of 2011, both David and Jana were taken into custody.
He looked like he did something.
The legal process moved forward, and both ultimately pleaded guilty to charges related to how Jersey had been treated inside that home.
Big ass head, boy, looking like a fucking
18 years in prison.
Villain.
Jana received 12, with an additional 3 years added later after a suspended sentence was revoked. For Jersey, it meant she would never return to that house again. She went to live permanently with her mother, Desiree. She enrolled at Sugar Creek Elementary School in Bentonville.
Okay, shout out Sugar Creek.
By all accounts, something in her began to settle. Teachers noticed it. Family members noticed it. Even neighbors who barely knew her picked up on the quiet shift happening in this little girl who had already been through more than most people face in a lifetime. People who knew Jersey described her consistently in the same way.
Osama school.
Bright, full of energy that seemed almost impossible to contain. She lit up rooms without trying. She took her role as a big sister to 2-year-old Leah incredibly seriously, watching over her, caring for her, showing a tenderness that seemed beyond her years. One family friend said it best, and simply, "I honestly don't know how she made it through all of that." But she did, and she was always smiling. In March of 2012, Desiree moved the family into a house at 608 Southeast A Street in Bentonville. New address.
Nigga, who is this? Nigga, is this Jess?
Fresh start. A chance
Oh, boy,
finally
is
to
this
build something
Jess?
stable. And right next door lived a young married couple, Amanda and Zachary Hawley. Amanda and Desiree became close quickly. The
Nothing
kind of
happened
easy
yet. We're
friendship
just
that forms between neighbors when life is
getting
full
the
and help is
backstory.
appreciated. Zachary worked at a local restaurant, kept mostly to himself, and came across as relaxed and good-natured. He had no obvious red flags.
okay.
Nothing that made anyone think twice. Jersey called him Uncle Zach.
Oh,
And for a few months,
no.
everything actually seemed to be working.
Oh,
A new neighborhood,
no.
and trusted faces nearby, a mother doing everything she could to give her daughter a real childhood after everything that had already been taken from her.
Oh, no.
From the outside, it looked like the beginning of something better. It wasn't. By November of 2012, the arrangement between the two families had become completely routine. Whenever Desiree worked a late shift or her boyfriend Brandon had evening hours, Amanda and Zachary would look after Jersey and little Leah next door. It happened regularly enough that nobody thought about it anymore. It was just part of how life worked on Southeast A Street. A perfectly ordinary neighborhood arrangement built on trust, familiarity, and the kind of casual confidence that comes from seeing someone every single day. Nobody questioned it. Why would they? Jersey had just celebrated her 6th birthday. 6 days later, everything changed. November 19th, 2012, a Monday evening. Desiree left for work. Her boyfriend Brandon headed out for his shift, and just like they had done many times before, Jersey and Leah went next door to spend the evening with Amanda and Zachary. Completely normal, nothing unusual. Just another weeknight in a neighborhood where everyone knew each other. Later that night, around 11 p.m., Desiree came home from work and went next door to collect the girls. Jersey was drowsy and quiet the way children get when they push past their bedtime. Desiree carried them both back inside, tucked them into the same bed they had shared many times before, and settled in beside them. And then Jersey did something she always did. She looked up at her mom through heavy eyes and whispered that she loved her, to the moon and back, a phrase she used so often that it had become her signature. The small, sweet way she closed every day, those were the last words they spoke to each other. When Desiree woke the following morning and walked into the bedroom, Leah was still asleep. Jersey's side of the bed was empty. No note, no sound, no indication of what had happened or when. Desiree moved through the house quickly, checking every room,
Wait, what?
calling Jersey's name, opening closets, and looking in every corner a 6-year-old might reasonably choose to hide. Nothing. She called her own mother. Together they went through the house again, still nothing. That's when the fear became something else entirely. Desiree looked out the window and spotted Amanda sitting on the front porch of the house next door. She went over immediately and asked if Amanda had seen Jersey that morning. Amanda said she hadn't. Desiree called 911 at 6:43 in the morning.
Bentonville 911, what's the address of the emergency?
It's 608 Southeast A Street.
Police responded without hesitation. When a young child is reported missing, there is no waiting, no easing into it. Every minute is treated as critical from the very first second. Officers arrived at 608 Southeast A Street and began working immediately. They searched the Bridgman home room by room. They searched the Hawley residence next door. They moved through surrounding properties, checking every accessible space in the immediate area. No sign of Jersey anywhere. No forced entry.
That's kind of crazy though, because sometimes, didn't we just watch a movie or something where somebody got like kidnapped or some shit? Maybe this might have been on my own time, but and then they were like, usually the kid will be like he's just exploring or some shit. Like they're like, there's no need to worry or some shit like that. Like
Nothing visibly
that's usually what they
disturbed.
usually say.
No broken locks, no open windows, nothing that pointed clearly toward what had happened or where she had gone.
They're just
And then Officer Travis Nichols noticed
they're
something.
just being
The
angsty.
back door of the vacant house 2 doors down, number 74, was standing open. Not dramatically, not obviously, but enough to stand out against every other property on that street.
Okay.
The house had been sitting empty for a while. That door had no reason to be open. Nichols approached carefully with fellow officer Mike Henson. They moved through the entrance slowly, scanning the interior as they went. The house was dim and still. Debris scattered across the floor. The kind of heavy silence that belongs to a place that has been forgotten by the world outside it. They reached the bedroom, and that is where the search came to an end. Officers immediately stepped back, secured the perimeter, and called for backup. A formal search warrant was required before the scene could be fully processed.
All fun and games.
So they waited outside
child
and held the line while
explores
the neighborhood
woods
around them
and-
began to stir. Family
Wait,
members
what?
started arriving. Jersey's grandmother, Vicky, pulled up and walked
Demogorgon
straight toward
devours
one of the
it.
officers
Oh,
standing near
Lord.
the tape.
Wait, did I
She
miss
asked
him?
him quietly whether Jersey was inside. Pulled up and walked her. Family members started arriving. Jersey's grandmother, Vicky, pulled up and walked straight toward one of the officers standing near the tape. She asked him quietly whether Jersey was inside. The officer couldn't find the words. He didn't need to. The look on his face said everything. Vicky said later that she understood completely in that moment. She knew before anyone told her. And that knowledge, arriving silently through a look rather than a sentence, became one of the most difficult moments the family would carry forward from that day. Jersey's maternal grandfather was later brought in to make the official identification, a moment no grandparent should ever have to face, the kind of thing that changes someone in ways that never fully heal. Within the hour, Southeast Day Street was unrecognizable. Police tape stretched across the block. Journalists arrived. Camera crews set up on the sidewalk. Neighbors stepped onto their porches in the early morning cold, speaking in low voices, trying to piece together what was happening just steps from their front doors. Official information was scarce. The atmosphere was thick with tension and unanswered questions. Near the Bridgman home, a small bicycle sat exactly where Jersey had left it, still patient, waiting for a child who wasn't coming back. A deflated princess balloon rested on the ground nearby. Small things.
Damn.
Everyday things. The kind of ordinary childhood details that become difficult to look at in the wrong context. Bentonville Police, Captain John Simpson addressed reporters and made one thing clear from the start. Everyone connected to Jersey, anyone who had spent time near her, anyone whose path had crossed hers in the days leading up to that morning, would be looked at, thoroughly, without exception. The investigation was just beginning, and somewhere on that street the answer was already closer than anyone realized.
We also know that the FBI is now in on the investigation with Bentonville Police to try and solve the case. Several people have been interviewed and 3 homes were searched in the neighborhood where Jersey's body was found. Police say even though no one has been arrested yet, the investigation is moving quickly.
I feel confident that we've taken steps that we need to take as quickly as possible, and I feel confident that the answers to all of our questions are within reach.
Even still, though, we are now 2 days out and details about the killing are vague. We don't know who exactly police have interviewed so far or really how they even know this is a murder investigation. They still haven't told us how the little girl died or if her body showed any signs of abuse.
Obviously, this case is too important for the family. It's too important for the community. It's too important to everyone.
Police also say the holiday weekend will not put any kind of delay on their investigation.
The neighborhood here really shook up about this. Well, the girl's body was found inside an abandoned house behind me. The house is difficult to see with the light, but it's behind these series of trees.
Boy, I can't see this, man.
And police have been here all night. They're still here this morning. The chief here in Bentonville is calling this a homicide, and the work to find the person or persons responsible for this crime continues this morning. Here's what we know so far. Investigators collected evidence outside this house most of the day Tuesday after the 6-year-old was reported missing, then found 2 doors down from where she lived. This morning, we expect officers will deliver even more evidence to the state crime lab in Little Rock, and we've confirmed that they're waiting on a warrant to gather more clues in this neighborhood.
We do have several residents of interest on Southeast A Street, as seen behind us here. And of course, that residence is not the only one, and we're working on either search warrants.
So we know it's the uncle, though, right? We all can agree it's the uncle, quote unquote,
or other methods to be able to thoroughly inspect those residences.
But there are a lot of questions that we have this morning, and investigators aren't
You gotta look like
saying
Jadee
much
on
at
high
all
key.
this morning. We're hoping to learn exactly what happened to this little girl, and we're also want to know how close officers are.
You say you're
to
confused, so the mom
making
and dad left
In the
for
hours
work,
that followed,
and then
Bentonville Police and the Federal
no,
Bureau-
they from what it sounds like, it seems like it might have been a kidnapping, maybe. I'm assuming, because they never said anything about the dad or whatever. So I'm assuming maybe it might be the dad or it might be the quote unquote uncle. One of those two. Because they said when she woke up, that other girl wasn't there. when they woke up, and the dad wasn't there either, so they never even mentioned him. So I don't know. It might have been the dad or the uncle. So I don't know. Because I was kind of confused at first, but then I had to think about like, oh wait,
Bureau of Investigation began working the case together. This was not a situation that could be handled quietly or slowly. A child was missing. The circumstances were deeply concerning.
Wait,
and
what?
Right now, the list of answers was very short.
Wait, missing? They just said he was dead, though.
What our investigators did have was geography. A small, contained neighborhood.
Wait, now I am
confused.
confused.
Number of people with direct access to Jersey in the hours before
Wait, now
she
I'm confused.
disappeared. And the kind of investigative instinct that comes from experience. The understanding that in cases involving young children, the truth is almost never far from home. They started methodically, carefully, pulling on every available thread. Desiree was questioned first. Detective Corporal J.C. Wiseman walked her through the entire evening in precise detail. When she left for work, when she returned, when she collected the girls, when she put them to bed, when she woke up and found Jersey's side of the bed empty. Her account held together completely from beginning to end. No inconsistencies, no gaps that couldn't be explained. Just a mother in profound shock, doing everything she could to stay composed long enough to help. Her boyfriend Brandon was looked at next. His alibi was verified quickly and thoroughly.
Also, it wasn't a
Workplace records and
boyfriend.
coworker accounts
Was that
confirmed
Greedy?
he had been on shift during every relevant
It's
hour
my
of that
favorite
night.
black
He
man,
was cleared
Nick
without
Lester.
complication. Then investigators
What's up,
turned to the
Greedy?
couple next
Oh,
door.
Lord, bruh.
Amanda
What's
Holly
up with
sat
you?
down with detectives and gave a statement that
How you
aligned
doing,
closely
brother?
with everything Desiree had already told them.
It's been a while.
She confirmed that she and Zachary had watched the girls that evening.
What's that
She
with you,
confirmed
bruh?
that Jersey had gone home with her mother later that night. Nothing in her account raised immediate concern. She appeared cooperative, visibly distressed, and genuinely affected by what had happened. And then it was Zachary's turn. 28-year-old Zachary Holly, neighbor, regular babysitter. The man
Chillin',
Jersey
chillin'.
trusted enough to call Uncle Zach.
Ah, see, I knew
On
it.
the surface, he came across exactly the way you would expect an innocent person to come across. Cooperative, willing to help. He handed over the clothes he had been wearing that night without being asked twice. He agreed to provide a sample voluntarily. He expressed visible concern for the family
You're
and
now
answered every
realizing
question
it.
put to him without apparent hesitation.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
I remember looking at the time, it was 3:35.
We're on some true crime tomfoolery. We were supposed to play the Incredible Hulk
He did
game,
everything
but my
right.
fucking
On the surface.
controller didn't want to work.
But his
so
account of that night contained
now we're
one
here.
detail that investigators kept coming back to.
I hope you're doing
told
all right,
officers
Greedy.
that
I hope
somewhere around
everything's going
3:35
good
in
at
the
college
morning,
and all that
he had
stuff.
woken up suddenly feeling unwell. Not wanting to disturb anyone in the house, he said he walked alone to the Easy Mart convenience store roughly 150 yards away to pick up something for an upset stomach. Surveillance footage from the store confirmed he was
We'll
there
buy
at
you
that
a new
time.
controller. My
He said
controller's
he
not
returned
fucked
home
up,
shortly
man.
after, went straight back to bed, and didn't speak to anyone
Oh,
until
yeah, at your
morning.
girl's crib.
Taken on its own,
Saw
that
Twitch
story is
open and
entirely
Wi-Fi.
possible. People get sick in the middle of the
W.
night. People make late convenience store runs. It happens all the time.
Maybe it's the
But
cable.
here's the detail that quietly stood out. That same Easy Mart, the one Zachary said he walked to
I'll
alone
figure it
at
out
3:35
after
in the
we're
morning,
done.
was the exact same store Desiree drove to later that morning to find Brandon and tell him Jersey was missing.
Wait, what?
In a case built on reconstruct.
Hold on, I'm missing some details. My bad. Hold on, let me lock in real quick.
He said he returned home shortly after, went straight back to bed, and didn't speak to anyone until morning. Taken on its own, that story is entirely
Let
possible.
me get busy.
People get sick
I'll
in the
be
middle
back,
of the night.
though. Oh,
People
Lord.
make late convenience store runs. It happens all the time.
All right, Greedy.
But here's the detail that quietly stood out. That same Easy Mart, the one Zachary said he walked to alone at 3:35 in the morning, was the exact same store Desiree drove to later that morning to find Brandon and tell him Jersey was missing.
What?
In a case built on reconstructing a precise minute-by-minute timeline, that kind of overlap doesn't get overlooked. It gets noted, it gets examined, and it gets brought back to the person whose story that put them there. Zachary was brought in for a second round of questioning. His story didn't change. Calm, consistent, and firm. He felt sick. He went to the store, he came home, he went to sleep. He had absolutely nothing to do with what happened to Jersey. Meanwhile, at the Arkansas State Crime Lab, specialists were working around the clock. Through the Thanksgiving holiday and beyond, a team of analysts processed information gathered as part of the investigation, working carefully and methodically through every available piece of evidence. The findings they were building toward had the potential to shift the entire direction of the case. Everyone involved understood the weight of what was coming back from that lab. Back in the neighborhood, the community was doing what communities do when something incomprehensible happens. They came together. More than 100 people gathered at the Children's Advocacy Center for a candlelight memorial. They stood in the November cold, shoulder to shoulder, holding small flames in the dark. The atmosphere was heavy and quiet in the way that grief in public always is, people searching for something to say and mostly finding that silence is the only honest response.
We just wanted to maybe find a way to process our grief and probably a lot of sadness that the community feels and a lot of the questions that we all have that we don't have any answers to today, and just felt like that this would probably be an appropriate way to do that.
Beverly Engel, the center's executive director, spoke about Jersey in the way that only someone who had actually known her could. Jersey had something special about her, she said. It was like she had this little old soul inside her, but at the same time she was pure joy. Students and staff at Sugar Creek Elementary chose to wear purple in her memory. A color. A gesture. A small, dignified way of saying her name out loud when words felt insufficient.
Hey, purple's a good color.
Jersey's father, sitting in a prison cell hours away, was denied permission to attend her funeral.
As he should.
As the days passed, the investigation continued to narrow its focus. Zachary Hawley's name kept surfacing in ways that were difficult to set aside.
That nigga looked
his
evil.
Movements that night, his relationship to the family, the late-night store run, the sample he had provided. Every piece of the picture was being examined, cross-referenced, and held up against everything else investigators knew. Then two developments arrived in close succession and changed everything.
So just to be absolutely clear, Zach, you've made a decision on your own to do this polygraph, and I'm assuming for the purpose of trying to clear your name.
Yes, I want you to find the person who did this.
First, Zachary voluntarily reached out to investigator Chris Moffat and offered to take a polygraph examination.
I want to clear up my name.
And the test was administered.
I want y'all to know I didn't do
the results
nothing.
Came back. Second.
Damn, she bit.
And this was the development that truly mattered.
Man, we don't care about her. We worry about this nigga.
Gathered during the investigation was completed at the state lab. Those results pointed in one direction. Zachary was brought back in for questioning one final time. But this conversation was fundamentally different.
You know what they say, I love me some big girls, you feel me?
Investigators walked in with specific information. Details about the scene, details about the evidence.
More cushion for the pushing.
That had been deliberately kept away from every press conference, every media report, and every public statement since the beginning of the case.
He's a BBW pounder.
Details that only one person could possibly know, because only one person had been there. And somewhere in that questioning, something in Zachary Hawley gave way. He stopped holding his account together. At a critical point during questioning, he provided investigators with a layout of the interior of the vacant house at number 74. He drew it himself.
What?
Marked the hallway, indicated the bathroom, showed investigators exactly where he had been that night. That's the hallway. There's the bathroom right here. The words of a man who had been inside that house. A man who knew what had happened inside those walls. A man who could no longer maintain the distance between himself and the truth. Zachary Hawley was placed under arrest. The community reaction was immediate and raw because this was not a stranger. This was not someone who had appeared out of nowhere. This was the man people had watched standing behind the police tape in the early morning hours of November 20th, wearing a blue striped beanie and a black jacket, watching the scene unfold.
He just got a
alongside
punchable
everyone
face,
else.
boy.
This was the man who had helped search for Jersey when she was first reported missing. The man who had sat with the family. The man who had been trusted, welcomed, and relied upon. The man Jersey called Uncle Zach.
LR Bentonville police say 28-year-old Zachary Dwayne Hawley was arrested this evening, charged with capital murder, kidnapping, and residential burglary.
We're outside of his house this morning here at 702 Southeast A Street. His house is between where Jersey Bridgman lived and where they found her body Tuesday morning.
This investigation has been assisted by the Rogers Police Department, the Benton County Sheriff's Office, as well as numerous other local law enforcement agencies that comprise the Benton County Child Abduction Response Team. And the Arkansas State Crime Lab was instrumental in the timely development of this case and this arrest.
We didn't actually see any family members in the news conference earlier this evening, but we were informed that the family does know about the arrest. In fact, we saw Chief Simpson at the funeral home there with the family during the visitation earlier, telling them about the arrest which had been made, letting everyone there know that they were going to hold a press conference tonight. So yes, the family does know. However, we're not sure if any of the folks in the police department here tonight were actually family members of Jersey Bridgman. Back to you.
Charged with serious offenses carrying the heaviest penalties available under Arkansas state law, Zachary Hawley was taken into custody, and the case moved into its next phase. One day before his first scheduled court appearance, while being held in the county jail, an incident occurred involving another inmate who had managed to enter his cell during a routine distribution. The situation was contained quickly and no serious injuries resulted, but the mere fact that it happened reflected just how charged the atmosphere had become.
What the?
Jail Captain Chris Spark addressed it directly. Obviously, this case has received massive media attention, and all the inmates know why he's being held, he said. We're going to do everything we can to make sure he stays safe.
Well, I know for a fact in prisons that I know, like, if you have to do anything with children, like police, or not police, in jail, they, yeah, you know, they on your ass, especially if you are a PDF file. Don't tell me this man did what I think he did, bruh. Don't tell me this man did what I think he did. Because they only do this type of treatment for those type of people, bruh. Don't tell me what I think he did, bruh.
Safe, just like we would for any other inmate. It was a statement that captured the tension of that moment perfectly. A community consumed by grief and anger, a legal process that had barely begun, and a man at the center of it, all who had spent days standing among the people searching for the little girl he had taken. Bentonville was about to enter the longest and most difficult chapter of this story yet, and the courtroom was waiting. The arrest of Zachary Hawley brought no immediate relief to Bentonville. If anything, it deepened the wound, because now the community wasn't just processing the loss of a child, they were processing the identity of the person responsible, someone they had seen, someone they had spoken to, someone who had stood among them at the very scene of his own actions, wearing concern on his face like a costume. That kind of betrayal doesn't settle quickly. It lingers, and the legal process that followed would make sure the community felt every single stage of it.
Yeah, friends and family of Jersey Bridgman are gathered behind me here at Rollins Funeral Home for the visitation, which just got underway a few minutes ago. People paying their respects tonight include administrators from Sugar Creek Elementary, where Jersey was a kindergartner. Earlier today, teachers at the school broke the news to all the children and answered any questions they might have.
Bro, she
Pam
was only
Flair,
6 years
the school
old,
principal,
man.
says they did not provide much information to the students other than the facts that Jersey Bridgman died, and police are still investigating. Faculty members allowed the students to write and draw pictures about...
I just don't, bro. She was only 6 years old, gang. Nigga, you 28, bruh. You don't even get to experience life yet, bro. You don't even you're not even consciously really thinking at all around 6 years old, bro. I mean, I guess kind of, but it's I guess in my opinion, that's some of your first memories when you're around 6 years, 5 to 6 years old. That's some of the first memories you ever actually remember about things. She didn't even have a chance to even do that, bro. Why would you do this, bro? What the fuck wrong with you, nigga?
About how they were feeling, which helped determine
He's
who
still not
needed the
thinking?
most intensive counseling. Blair says it was the older students in 3rd and 4th grade.
I did say some people.
35 to 40 students needed counseling.
When Zachary was escorted into the courtroom for the first time, he gave nothing away. No acknowledgement of the reporters waiting with cameras. No eye contact with anyone in the room. He moved silently under heavy security, dressed in standard jail clothing, expression completely flat. The tension inside that courtroom was immediate and physical, the kind that builds when a room full of people are all carrying the same weight, and none of them know exactly how to put it down. The judge read through the charges one by one. The charges filed against him were among the most serious available under Arkansas state law. As each count was read aloud, the room went completely silent.
Wait, what's the count?
Observers noted that Zachary's hands were visibly shaking even as he worked to keep everything else about him still.
Wait, what did he get
answered a
charged
plea of
for?
Not guilty on all counts. A public defender was appointed. Bail was denied.
What
Zachary would remain in custody until the case reached its conclusion. For Jersey's family, sitting through that first appearance was its own particular kind of difficult. Not closure, not answers, just the formal beginning of a process that still had a very long way to go. Before the trial could begin in earnest, 2 independent psychiatric evaluations were conducted. One was requested by the prosecution. The other was initiated by the defense. Each was carried out separately
What was the charges,
with no coordination
though?
between the two teams. Both reached the exact same conclusion. Zachary Hawley was mentally competent to stand trial. He understood the nature of the charges against him and was fully capable of participating in his own legal defense. That finding removed any procedural uncertainty and cleared the path toward trial. But the road still had unexpected complications. One of Zachary's appointed attorneys formally informed the court that he was no longer able to continue representing the defendant. He cited significant personal difficulties and acknowledged openly that he could not guarantee the standard of representation his client deserved. It was an unusual...
He must have did something crazy. Bro, if your defense attorney says I can't even, like, even I can't even get you out of this, you must have did something. He must have did something crazy. That nigga said, I can't even defend this nigga, bro. I can't. Nigga so trapped. It must have been something insane. What did you do to this girl?
And it had immediate consequences. The proceedings were paused.
It must be
The
diabolical.
replacement attorney had to be found, briefed, and brought fully up to speed on a complex case. For Jersey's...
I will say, though, like, I know a lot of people get mad at defense attorneys for defending, like, criminals like this, but, like, people need to realize, like, it's not really, like, their choice to, like, you know, it's not their choice to defend them, per se. Like, it's like they're doing a job. Like, they had, like, you know, unfortunately, at least in America, everybody is given the right to defend themselves, no matter how heinous the crime is. People need to realize that the defense attorney's just doing their job, bro. Like, you know, you don't need to hate them, like, because, you know what I'm saying? It's not, they don't have to, they don't agree with the nigga, but their job is to get them, you know, they're doing their due diligence by proving that nigga innocent. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I never really get mad at a defense attorney, like, because you very rarely you will ever see a defense attorney agree with their, you know, clients, like, especially if they're appointed to them. It's like, bro, you don't see them be like, yeah, I agree with this nigga wholeheartedly, after he got accused of, you know, raping and murdering 12 children. Nobody's going to agree with that. But legally, he's allowed to have a defense. It's like, it's just the fucked up laws. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it makes sense, though, because, you know, the White House, they all like children, so.
His family, each delay landed heavily. Every postponement meant more waiting, more time suspended in a state of unresolved grief. More days were the thing they needed most. A conclusion remained just out of reach. A new attorney was eventually assigned, and the case finally
me personally,
moved
that
forward into
nigga,
its active
I'm not
phase.
giving nobody. I don't care what you think.
Friends, family, and even law enforcement showed up to pay their last respects for
Nearly
6-year-old
3 years
Jersey
after that
Bridgman.
November morning
Jersey's
in
funeral
Bentonville.
procession got a special
Courtroom
police
filled
escort
quickly
by the
each day.
Bentonville
Sir, I
Police
can't hear
Department.
you.
Community members, family, people who had followed this case from the very beginning
Sir!
and felt a personal stake in how it ended.
Sir!
A reporter covering
Friends
the
say
proceedings
6-year-old
later
Jersey
described
was a
Zachary
loving
as a
Sir!
She's been through a lot. She was
shifting in
very
his seat,
quiet,
clenching his hands,
but, you know,
alternating between
she
long stretches of absolute
always
stillness and
laughed.
moments where the
She
tension seemed
had
to
the
physically
biggest
push
smile
through his
that you could
composure.
have. She made sure
The
she
weight of
showed
the
you her
courtroom appeared to
teeth,
accumulate on him
and
with
she
every passing
loved
session.
her parents
The prosecution built its
and all
case
of her
carefully and
family
without
more
rushing.
than anything.
One of the most significant witnesses called to the stand was Frank Petty, who served as a key expert for the prosecution. His testimony was one of the most closely followed portions of the entire...
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie, you need some work, gang. You need some work, bruh. Like, I like how he's doing it, but, like, I like how he's describing some of the shits, but, like, come on, bruh.
Trial. Not because of graphic detail, but because of the quiet, measured precision with which he walked the jury through his professional findings. He spoke in the controlled tone of someone who has spent a career
because we don't even know what he's charged with
truths in demanding settings. I understood the situation almost immediately during the initial review, he said. He described what the evidence showed and what it meant within the context of the case. He pointed to findings that helped the jury understand the full picture of what had occurred inside that vacant house on Southeast A Street. He referenced small personal items belonging to Jersey.
Yeah, he's building the suspense a little too long. I'm like,
documented as part of the official process.
You got the music
Quiet
going and
details
shit.
That underscored the human reality behind the legal proceedings.
But it's like,
the courtroom went completely
what's going on?
still. Some people looked away. Others couldn't hold back tears. Jersey's family sat close together, holding each other in the way people do when the alternative is falling apart completely. Zachary sat with his head down. No visible reaction. Then came the evidence portion of the trial. Materials gathered during the investigation were presented to the jury, items and findings that documented what officers had encountered and what the official review had established.
All right.
Even for people in that room accustomed to working difficult cases, the material was hard to process.
Okay.
A visible wave moved through the courtroom as key findings were presented. Grief and shock and something harder to name, the specific weight of being confronted with the reality of what had been done.
What?
As the materials were presented, Zachary Hawley showed no visible reaction.
What?
His face remained completely still. An audio recording or a portion of his police interview was played for the jury.
Okay.
Every pause in that recording felt loaded. Every silence between a question and an answer seemed to carry its own meaning.
Can we get it though, at least?
The room listened without moving. Then came the laboratory findings. Specialist Lisa Channel from the Arkansas State Crime Lab explained to the jury that certain samples recovered during the investigation did not produce a definitive standalone result when compared to Zachary's reference profile. However, she was careful to place that finding in its proper context. The material had been exposed to external conditions over time. That single factor, she stressed, was not sufficient to draw a firm conclusion in either direction.
What material?
And should not be considered in isolation from the broader body of evidence. Then senior analyst Melissa Main took the stand. She walked the jury through the laboratory results clearly, methodically, and without unnecessary complexity. Findings consistent with Zachary Hawley's profile, she explained, had been identified across multiple independent samples, gathered from more than one location during the investigation. He was identified as the primary potential contributor to those findings. She chose her closing words with the careful precision her field demands. "I can't say this with 100% scientific certainty," she told the jury, "but I can say with the same confidence that he cannot be excluded." In a room searching for clarity, those words carried
okay, was it like blood? Like what? Like what? What was it? What was it, bro? Like what was it?
Unmistakable weight, not because they were dramatic, but because everyone in that courtroom understood exactly what they meant. Then came the moment that surprised nearly everyone in attendance. The defense called no witnesses during the main phase of the trial, not a single one. And in both their opening statement and their closing argument, Zachary's attorneys stopped just short of a full admission, essentially acknowledging to the jury that their client bore responsibility for what had happened to Jersey Bridgman. It was an unexpected and calculated move. Not aimed at acquittal, not aimed at reasonable doubt. It was aimed entirely at what came next. The jury deliberated. It didn't take long. Zachary Hawley was found guilty on all counts. Unlawful entry into a residence.
Okay.
Unlawful restraint of a child. Additional serious offenses. And the most serious charge of all, the intentional taking of a life. When the verdict was read, the court...
I think he's being... I understand he has to censor for YouTube, but it's kind of hard for me to follow. I'm just going to assume that he did some tomfoolery with her on some PDF file shit. That's what I'm going to assume. And then obviously killed her. Like, come on, bruh. Like,
courtroom shifted. Jersey's family held each other. Some cried openly. Others sat in silence, absorbing a word they had been waiting nearly 3 years to hear spoken aloud in an official setting. Guilty. But the proceedings were not finished. A separate sentencing phase began.
What?
And this portion of the trial carried its own distinct weight, because the question before the jury now was not whether Zachary Hawley had done what he was accused of. That had been settled. The question now was what consequences the law would impose for what he had done. And in a case of this magnitude, that question is never a simple one. The defense shifted its entire focus. Their goal was singular. Seek the most lenient sentence possible under the circumstances.
Alright, hold on. I think I'm gonna go to that. My bad. I'm sorry. Cause like, I wanna go to this other video. We're going to skip around real quick.
Yes, ma'am. Can you tell me what your son's name is? My daughter's name is Faith Butler. Fayde. Hold on.
Oh wait, it's a whole different one. Oh wait, never mind. Alright, my bad. I'm sorry. That's a whole different one. My bad.
Whether Zachary Hawley had done what he was accused of. That had been settled. The question now was what consequences the law would impose for what he had done.
I'm not saying they look the same, but I thought that was the same girl. Not gonna lie.
And in a case of this magnitude, that question
That's
is
a whole
never
different
a simple one. The defense shifted its entire focus. Their goal was singular. They tried to protect him from it. A representative from California entirely by instability. According to official records, there had been 15 separate investigations into Zachary's welfare as a minor. He had lived in 9 different homes.
That's so too, yeah.
He had attended 23 different schools. 23. That is not a childhood with roots. That is a childhood spent in constant motion, constantly adjusting, constantly losing whatever small sense of stability had briefly taken hold. The caseworker who testified did something notable. She didn't just present the facts. She acknowledged directly and without deflection that the system designed to protect children like Zachary had failed him.
Alright, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna look at the comments because oh my god. What?
That he had been removed from an unsafe situation once and returned far too soon. That stronger intervention had been available and hadn't been taken. Her testimony didn't change what Zachary had done. No one in that room believed it did. But it landed with a particular kind of weight. The uncomfortable recognition that broken systems and the people who emerge from them are often connected.
Man, I don't care about what happened to him as a kid.
Than to confront. The jury listened to all of it. They weighed the severity of the case against the history of the man standing before them. They sat with everything on one side and everything on the other. The judge spent more than half an hour reading through the legal instructions, carefully laying out the standards the jury was required to apply and the responsibility they were being asked to carry. Then they deliberated, and then they returned. Zachary Hawley was sentenced to 20 years in prison for unlawful entry into a residence.
Okay.
2 life sentences were imposed for the remaining serious charges, and for the most serious charge of all. Under circumstances the court found to be especially aggravating, the remaining serious charges, the particular kind of weight. The uncomfortable recognition that broken systems and the people who emerge from them are often connected in ways that are easier to ignore than to confront. The jury listened to all of it. They weighed the severity of the case against the history of the man standing before them. They sat with everything on one side and everything on the other. The judge spent more than half an hour reading through the legal...
What's his name? Zachary Hawley? Alright, we just gonna do this, bruh. Alright, fuck it, there's a Wikipedia already for it. It was a child, you know what I'm saying, case. A United States 6-year-old was abducted from home while she was sleeping in Brentonville, Arkansas. Let me see. Oh, okay. All right. That's why he couldn't say what he said. Let's just say. Okay. All right. You said don't know. Okay, so I can't really. I don't know how to say this. So maybe that's why he was very vague. Let's just say he was definitely on some EDP timing. For sure. They found her body in that home. You feel me? You know? Oh, I can show the wiki? Oh, okay. Well. Yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah, I could just. Yeah. 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 Nigga said explain in Fortnite terms. Yeah, so he was found guilty on kidnapping, SA, and then, you know, murder and residential burglary. I don't know what residential burglary is. Is that just breaking and entering, I'm assuming? That's just breaking and entering? Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of knew what he was talking about, but I just wanted him to like elaborate a little bit more because he could have meant blood, but yeah, this is he belongs underneath the jail. Yeah, he belongs underneath the jail between next to the core of the mantle of the earth. That's where he belongs. And you fucking nasty ass fucking bitch ass nigga, bro. You hoe ass nigga, bro. Niggas like this just be kind of like, why do you exist, bro? Like, she was only 6 years old, mind you. Like, brother, man.
That process exists for important reasons. What it means in practice for the families involved is this. The case doesn't end when the jury stands up and leaves the room. For Jersey's family, the conclusion they waited nearly 3 years for was about to stretch even further. From his place inside a high-security facility in Arkansas, Zachary Hawley filed a formal appeal of his conviction.
What?
His attorneys identified several specific points they believed warranted review. The first centered on a pre-trial motion for a directed verdict on the unlawful entry charge, a motion that had been denied by
nigga, who cares? You're already doing life in prison. What the fuck?
Presiding Judge Brad Caron. The defense argued that this denial had played a meaningful role in shaping the overall outcome of the case, and that the ruling had been legally incorrect.
Who cares?
The second argument focused on what the defense described as a missed opportunity during the trial. Specifically, that the jury had never been formally informed of Zachary's willingness to plead guilty to one of the most serious charges against him.
Well, what is that going to change?
His attorneys framed this as a gesture of accountability that deserved to be placed before the jury as a mitigating...
Oh, he admitted that he did the crime, so you think niggas going to be like, I mean, he already knew he was wrong, so maybe we should lessen his sentence. Like, nigga, what?
Consideration during sentencing. The third challenge targeted the admissibility of statements Zachary had made during his police interrogations, which the defense argued should have been excluded from evidence entirely. The Arkansas Supreme Court reviewed each argument thoroughly
bro thought he was gonna get out on
rejected all of them. The conviction was upheld. The sentence
was he thought he was gonna get he was gonna
the defense
lessen his
found
sentence
to be legally insufficient to alter the outcome of the trial. From a purely procedural standpoint, this was a decisive moment. The legal foundation beneath Zachary Hawley's conviction had been tested at the highest level available to him in state court, and it had held. For Benton County Prosecutor Nathan Smith, the ruling brought a measure of closure that went beyond the professional. While additional appeals are common in cases like this, he said publicly, I hope today's decision reduces the likelihood that Jersey Bridgman's family will have to endure yet another court proceeding. It was a statement that acknowledged something most legal professionals rarely say out loud. That every new filing, every new hearing, every new round of argument...
I mean, at least we know why his first attorney left, though, because I'm going to be honest, you see this, how the fuck do you defend this, bruh? Like, there's literally, like, I'm not even trying to be funny, it's like, nigga, there's no way you defend that, bro. Like, the fuck? How do you defend that? Like, how do you even convince a jury that, like... How do you convince a jury to? How do you even convince a jury that you like to even at all? That's the most impossible mission ever.
Arguments means pulling a grieving family back into proximity with the most difficult chapter of their lives. It means Jersey's name appearing in legal documents again. It means her story being examined and re-examined in cold institutional language by a people who never knew her. It means no rest. But the appeals did not stop there. Zachary filed again, this time under what is known in Arkansas as a Rule 37 petition, A post-conviction challenge is arguing that he had received ineffective legal representation during his trial.
What?
The claim was that his original defense team had fallen short of the standard required, and that the jury had not been given complete information about his psychological history and the full scope of—
Man, we don't care about your psychological history, nigga. We don't care. That does not excuse you for what you did. What the fuck this nigga talking about? We don't care about your psychological history. That's not gonna change the fact that you did what you did. What?
Of his mental health background. His attorneys argued that this
I was mentally insane. That's why I did this to that little girl. Like, what?
In a meaningful way, and that its absence had denied him a fair process. It is a standard avenue in post-conviction cases, common enough that legal observers
she was
were
6
not
years
surprised by the
old. Like,
filing.
what?
But for a family that had already sat through years of hearings, delays, verdicts, and appeals,
we don't care.
There's no such thing as a routine court filing. Every document that carries Jersey's name reopens something. The challenge did not succeed.
We don't care, bro.
The conviction remained in place. As of the most recent available
bozo
reporting,
outta here.
Zachary Hawley remains inside a high-security facility in Arkansas serving his sentence. No successful legal challenge to his underlying conviction has been made. Sometime after the trial concluded, Jersey's biological father, David Bridgman, gave an interview from inside the facility where he was serving his own sentence. It was a complicated moment to sit with. Here was a man convicted of creating dangerous conditions for his own daughter, a man who had not been permitted to attend her funeral, a man whose own failures had already cost Jersey something irreplaceable long before November 2012 ever arrived. And yet here he was, speaking about her, about what she had meant to him, about—
Had two trash niggas in your life. It's unfortunate, bro. It's already a rarity to have one bad nigga, a horrible nigga in your life, but you got two horrible niggas in your life. Craziest thing is, I don't want to be that guy, but you noticing a pattern, though. That's all I'm gonna say.
about the guilt he carried, about the way the news of what happened had landed on him even from behind
Noticing
those
a
walls.
pattern, bruh.
He said he had never personally known Zachary Hawley, had only heard his name through others.
After his sentencing, Hawley spoke for the first time in his trial. He said in part, quote, "I sincerely apologize for the pain and suffering I've caused.
Man,
I hope you can one day find it in your heart to forgive me."
Fuck you.
He was immediately handcuffed
Nobody
and
will
taken
forgive
into
you.
custody.
I'm gonna keep loving my other ones, you know? I'm gonna keep going on as a mom.
Damn, bruh.
Keep with my little girls. The other two. It has been pretty much an ongoing funeral. You know, we finally get the—
Why can't we kill niggas like that, bro? I'm sorry. Why can't we kill niggas like this, bruh? I don't care, bruh. He doesn't deserve to live, bruh.
We no longer have to remember a bad day. We get to remember, you know,
Why can't we just kill niggas like this,
remember
bruh?
the good times. No longer have to focus on the
Just get him
nightmares.
out of here, bro. He serves no purpose in life.
When he learned the full details of what had happened, he said he struggled for a long time to process it. He spoke about his daughter with obvious emotion.
Wait, is
Not
his
the
dad in the
rehearsed
same prison
emotion
as
of
this guy?
Someone performing remorse, but the quieter, heavier kind that sits into someone who has had years alone with their own choices and nowhere to put them. He acknowledged that his struggles with addiction
Somebody do this to
had
my
seriously
daughter.
affected his ability to be the father.
Somebody do this to my daughter. I'm sorry, bro. You gonna need the National Coast Guard. You're gonna need every all the manpower in the world to stop me from killing this man, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. Like you gonna need, what's the thing that they use to stop the Incredible Hulk? Like you gonna need every national utility power to stop me from killing this man. No cap. There will be nobody to stop me from what I'm gonna do to this man. Y'all seen it? Y'all ever seen that video of that guy who caught the who was in the same line as not the same line, but he was the guy. There was like a guy that his son got killed, and the killer was in the same room as the other guy. He in the courtroom, and he fucking was just wailing on him. I'd have been like, that's justified, boy. It's gonna be worse for me though, because if that was my daughter, like, bro, you, there's no words to explain to what I'm gonna do to that man. He gonna wish that he got death, bro. we should bring back public execution, or bring public execution back, or insane torture methods. I saw a movie about a guy that did the same thing to a girl like this in a vid, and they removed his limbs one by one every few weeks until he had nothing left. Honestly, I'm fine with that. Honestly, I'm good with that. I'm gonna be honest, because necessary. I guess legally we can't kill the nigga, but nobody said that you can't sedate him and start pulling limbs out. I'm not even gonna start with limbs. I'm gonna start with something that he can obviously live through. We're gonna pull out all his teeth first. You know what I'm saying? So that way he has no teeth, he can't speak. You know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna start with each finger. Obviously, make sure he's not gonna bleed out. You know what I mean? Like, you said torture would be better than straight up murder. Yeah, that's what I'm. Honestly, it is, because you gotta live with that. Honestly, now to be fair, I am a big believer that I feel like people with crimes like this, that life in prison actually makes more sense than just murdering them, or giving them the death penalty, because they have to live with the fact, with that shame that they did this. You know what I mean? And one thing that's the worst for anybody is to recollect on your thoughts of something that you did bad. And the fact that the last thing that he's known for is, doing what he did to this girl and then killing her. Like, you have to sit with that for the rest of your life. And honestly, sometimes that's actually worse than death, honestly. And I'm all for that. But I just feel like in certain instances, it's like, especially the niggas that be like, they don't even care. Like, we got to do something about that, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the niggas that just have no recollection for human life, that be like that. Yeah, they gotta, that's the ones I feel like needs to torture. I feel like for him, I feel like torture, like, I feel like life in prison's good for him, because he already recognized that he was wrong, so he has to live with the thought that he did this to somebody. And karma, I'm not a religious person, but one thing I do believe is in karma, and I do believe that whatever you do, depending on how big it is, you will receive equal payment in due time. It always happens every time, bro. Every time. So he gonna get his just dues. Whether or not when it's gonna be, who knows? But he gonna get his, and it's gonna come in the worst way possible. Trust. You think they should just be kept in a dark box with no rooms to even move or be comfortable, and he only sees the sun, see the sun of light, or a shining light, when they open the cell and give him food? I mean, they already do that. It's called the black box, or the the hole, or the pit, or whatever. But legally, at least in America, legally, a person, you can't constrain a person to that for their whole sentence. That's just, legally, what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, you can't do that. So, because there's I think it's called the Human Act Clause or some shit, where, even if you're a criminal, like, you are subjected to being treated as a decent human no matter your crime. So legally, they have to, like, be accommodated no matter the level of your crime. So that's why the whole, torture thing can't exist, because, that law or whatever. So the only downside to bringing torture methods is for people who've been wrongfully convicted for crimes. Yeah, that's also too. But I feel like those are, like, more easy to depict, because, like, he admitted himself that he was wrong. I will say, yeah, I do agree with that, though, because obviously there has been people who've been wrongfully convicted, and them going through that, I feel like that would be just, obviously not good. So, what I'm saying, like, it's a slippery slope. You know what I mean? You said it's just like 2 weeks or a month. Depends. To be honest, actually, it's not even that long either. They can't even keep him for 2 weeks. It has to be within, like, I think it was like 4 to 5 days or some shit like that, because they are legally required to have sunlight no matter Like they're legally required in America, at least. In Argentina, it's different though, but in America, they are legally required to have some type of form of sunlight or something. You know, within like weeks, within the week or some shit. You know what I'm saying? They have this thing. It's called I think it's called the 23-and-1. 23-and-1, where they like, you know, they can put prisoners on lockdown for 23 hours of the day, but they are required to have 1 day or one hour of recreational time. So they have that, but even that is considered unlawful depending on what state it is. So it's like, you know, if they're not doing that for prisoners, like, you know, they're required to have some type of sunlight, you know what I mean? And some type of decent meal. That's one of their rights that they get to have. He said something like this is harder. It's hard to be wrongfully convicted for. Yeah, he admitted it. Like he admitted it. So, like, you know, he already knew he was fucked up. He knew he was wrong. But like I said, there is like, you know, there are rare cases where somebody is wrongfully convicted and then they get a life sentence and shit like that. And it's like, you know, you don't want that to happen, because I feel like, I'm not saying the court system doesn't get it right all the time. And I don't want, once again, yeah, I'm not trying to go that way, but, you know, just certain colors of people usually get wrongly convicted most of the time. So I wouldn't want to wish that on certain people. And I'm just saying, I don't want to be that guy. I'm not trying to say any. I'm just saying statistically, it's true. At least in America, obviously. I'm just only pointing out for America. I'm not saying worldwide. I'm just saying for America specifically in the law. I'm saying there's a lot of wrongfully convicted people who just tend to be, you know, just saying. It's the truth. Don't get mad at me. It's the truth. People want to say facts over fiction. That's a fact. It's not fiction. I'm just saying. It's literally true. So
other Jersey needed.
And y'all can notice the different patterns in how it is, you know. This man did some horrible crimes. And I guarantee you, if they actually, you know, if they actually played with the, you know, with the appeals and shit, they probably would have went forward with it if he would have deemed himself humanizing. But good, I don't want to say good thing, but, you know, unfortunately, it was a child that's involved, so he can't really get off on that. But if she was any older, he might have got free. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I'm not gonna lie. Hell, even if it was a kid, if the kid was a little bit older, he probably would have got less jail time. He probably wouldn't have got lifetime if she wasn't 6 years old. So, you know,
think of himself as a fundamentally bad person.
I'm just saying.
But he accepted, without deflection, that he had made serious mistakes, choices that could not be undone.
We seen PDF files get off that don't go to jail.
Whether that reflection brought any peace.
Let's keep it a buck. We done seen multiple PDF files that have done similar things to this, and they don't even get convicted. They don't even get no type of jail time. So this is actually one of those rare cases where he gets, you know what I mean, he gets convicted. But I guess it's also because he did, you know, unfortunately take her life. So, you know, he just wanted to be caught.
This is not something anyone outside of that facility can answer. What is certain is that it came far too late to matter to the little girl he was talking about.
Is probably alive and well.
In the years following the trial, the story of Jersey Bridgman found its way into true crime communities across the country.
He's Pistol Pete or whatever his name is.
Documentary-style content explored
Paradise Pete.
People who had never heard of Bentonville,
Passion
Arkansas,
Fruit Pete,
who couldn't have found it on a map, suddenly knew Jersey's name, knew what she had survived before that November
Palm Beach
night,
Pete, whatever that nigga name is.
Who she was beyond the circumstances of how she died, and that last part matters more than anything else about how this story has been shared, because it is very easy. In true crime coverage especially.
I will say this though, anytime somebody is involved with kids and it has to do with, you know, the two big ones, which is you know, obviously the M word and, you know, grape. If any sample is found on this child and it matches with yours, I think we all can agree that you deserve underneath the jail. Absolutely. That's all. I feel like that's pretty easy to agree with. I feel like at any time, and when it involves a child, like, you know what I'm saying, like, that should be an automatic jail sentence for life. The minimum. That should be the minimum, is jail sentence for life if it comes to that. Anything else past that, you know, it is what it is.
For a tragedy to consume the person at its center. For the details of a case to become louder than the life that preceded it. For a name to become associated only with loss. Jersey Bridgman deserves more than that.
And it's kind of crazy that
there's old. She had already faced more difficulty than most adults encounter in a lifetime.
That's
She'd been let down by people and systems that existed specifically to keep her safe. And yet, every single person who knew her, teachers, neighbors, family members, community
what kind
workers,
of sick
described her in the same essential terms.
How sick do you have to be to do this shit, bruh?
Warm,
Jesus
bright,
Christ, man.
Joyful in a way that felt effortless. The kind of child who makes everyone around her a little more present just by being in the room. She loved being a big sister. She took that role seriously.
What kind of sick individual do you have to be to
she used
even
phrases
think
like,
of
"To the
doing
moon
shit
and
like
back,"
this?
because that was genuinely how large her love felt. She had just started to experience what a stable
How
childhood
do you look at a
looked
6-year-old in any way
a
like that?
consistent home,
Like, I just don't.
a school she attended every day.
I just don't. I
neighbors who
can't.
knew
I
her
just.
name,
That's just one thing I just
a
can't never
routine that felt
understand, bro.
safe. Simple things. Things
I
most
don't know how you
children never
niggas
have to think
operate.
about
Like, how
because
do you
they've
look at
always
a
simply been
child
there.
in any way
Jersey had to work to get
like
to them,
that?
and she was just beginning to settle into them when they were taken away. Tixierland, the community of Bentonville has carried this story forward in the way that communities carry the things they cannot put down. The candlelight memorial in those first raw days of grief. The purple worn by students and staff at Sugar Creek Elementary. The quiet,
Only 6
dignified
years
way
old, by the
an entire
way.
neighborhood tried to hold itself together.
Only
while
6
processing
years
something
old,
that
by
made
the
no
way.
sense and never fully would. Those gestures were not small.
She got to live for 6
They were
years,
the community
and
saying collectively
within
and
those
out
6
loud
years, get
that
hoed
Jersey's
6
life had
years.
value, that she had been seen, that she would not simply disappear into the case file that bore her name.
That shit is really just pissing
And
me
that
off right now,
impulse
bro. Because
to remember a person rather than just a case is exactly why stories like this one continue to be told. Not to dwell in darkness, not to sensationalize a tragedy, but because
and the worst thing about this is a common thing, bro. That's the worst part. This is a common thing, bro. She ain't even the only type of person that go through this type of shit, bro. That's the crazy part about this, bro. Literally, this is just a common thing that people, for some reason, they don't care about. But yeah, y'all be worried about consenting adults eating coochie. Like, or people of that are not your skin color trying to make better for themselves at a job. But y'all, when it comes to shit like this in your own backyard, y'all just turn a blind eye to. But let it be somebody that's just minding their business. They are automatically a threat.
the alternative is forgetting. And forgetting is the one outcome that serves no one.
This is the world we live in, bro.
A 6-year-old girl who spent her short
This
life
is the
looking
world
for
we
the
live
safety
in,
and love
man.
she deserved. Jersey's story carries a lesson that is important and impossible to ignore. Danger rarely looks the way we expect it to. It does not announce itself. It does not stand apart from the crowd or make itself obvious from a distance.
This is the world we live in,
Sometimes
bruh.
it lives next door. Sometimes it helps watch the kids when you work late. Sometimes it stands behind the police tape with everyone else, wearing the right expression, saying the right things for days after. That is the part of this story that stays with you long after everything else fades. Not just what happened,
Sigh on sigh.
but how completely ordinary the person responsible appeared to everyone around him, and how that ordinariness was itself the most effective cover imaginable. Jersey called him Uncle Zach. She trusted him the way a 6-year-old trusts the familiar adults in her world, completely without calculation, because that is what children do, and what children deserve to be able to do.
The craziest thing about this is that nigga was probably doing that multiple times to this girl, by the way. I just thought about that. Because it said that she was missing in the morning. That means he literally broke into the house and went out his way to do this. Like, if you really, like, just, like, I didn't really put that together until now. Like, he must have been doing this a lot to where, it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when they're looking over. Because, and the fact that he was just able to walk into their house and just take her out of the bed and then just go 2 blocks down to do that is, Fuck, man. Oh, man. He deserves the worst. Like, he deserved it. Oh my God. Deputy overdosed over on the bathroom. What the? I mean, I feel like that's weird to save that, but you know, that'd be kind of crazy. Damn, man. Actually, now that I think about it though, because if we go back, oh, that is a different girl. That's crazy. They had the same story within 2 days. What the fuck? This is what got. That's why I was like, I was assuming like I thought this was the same girl. I thought she just had different like hair color or whatever. Because you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that white people look the same. I'm just saying though. And this is what got me right here, bro. Because I'm like, please don't tell me that's what that was. But unironically, this is 2 different stories and it's the same shit. This shit really happens a lot. It does. That's the crazy part. This shit is a common thing. This is a common thing. And I don't want to be that guy, but if y'all notice the pattern, y'all notice the pattern. I'm just saying. He found his pregnant fiance dead. Oh my God. But I'm just saying, bro, if you notice the pattern, you notice the pattern, bro. I don't want to be that guy. I know I keep on saying that, but like, my nigga, it's like, come on, bro. Like, it's literally like right there, man. Like, it's the same looking type of niggas, bro, doing the same shit, bro. And they get off scot-free. But you exist as a nigga, bro. You go to jail for the most dumbest shit. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck? Oh, my bad. Is this even allowed? Can you even show this? Yeah, y'all got that, bro. I'm gonna save this for one of those days where we don't, like, you know, when we locked in mentally, bro. You know what I'm saying? When we locked in mentally, bro, because that is a crazy thumbnail. Golly, bro. Good Lord. But anyway, I'm gonna see y'all later. Can we watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Henry Man 6767. No way. You didn't know, just popped in at the end of the stream. I appreciate the follow. I do. But I gotta be, I want you to hear what you just said.